Raiders are preparing to lose 6 players after Davante Adams leaves. Nobody expected this, as everything indicates the Vegas team will suffer big losses and this season will end in a dramatic way. Antonio Pierce seems to have lost control of the dressing room and refuses to talk about Adams's departure. Players who once seemed important can now say goodbye to the team much faster than you might think. Subscribe to the channel and leave your like. The Las Vegas Raiders are expected to trade wide receiver Davante Adams soon. When they do, will that mean they'll finish cutting players from the roster before the November 5th deadline? That will depend on whether the Raiders feel they can be real contenders. They'll likely want to stop the roster bleeding on Adams, whose relationship with the franchise has quickly exploded over the past week. But if the Raiders feel they should work toward the future and try to accumulate draft picks so they have a better chance of securing their quarterback of the future in 2025, they may be open to trade. If that's the route they choose, here are some players who could potentially be on the trade market. Andrew James. The Raiders probably wouldn't get much for James, who has been up and down this season. But if a team is looking for a starting center, James could be in the mix. The Raiders could slide Dylan Parham or Jackson Powers-Johnson to center with James out. Michael Mayer. The Raiders would likely want to further develop their 2023 second-round pick, and with Adams gone, they could use him to produce. But Mayer hasn't produced much this season and has missed the last 2 games with a personal injury, so his situation is fluid. Jakobi Meyers. On one hand, it would be tough to move Meyers because someone has to play wide receiver, right? But there would probably be interest in him, and the Raiders could get a decent return for Meyers, who is on a manageable contract. Plus, there has already been interest in him. Kolton Miller. Miller is a great player who the Raiders would probably like to see continue as a cornerstone. But he has dealt with a lot of injuries. The team might be looking to get some value for the 7th-year pro now. Gardner Minshew. There's always a market for a quarterback. They probably wouldn't get much for Minshew, but if they were comfortable with Aiden O'Connell for the rest of the season, the Raiders could probably trade Minshew for a pick. Trayvon Moehrig. The starting safety is one of several players who is a pending free agent. He's been decent. But if the Raiders aren't sure they want to extend Moehrig, now would be the time to get some compensation for him.